Hey everybody, I'm Den Haring. Thanks for joining my channel, Fish Den 365, and welcome back to Topwater Tuesday. Today, we're going to go into some ways to improve your buzzbait fishing by modifying a buzzbait. So recently we talked about a buzzbait, this little one here that Booyah makes, and I showed you a modification for how you can use some heat shrink tubing to attach it with a snap so you can easily change it. But what I didn't go over is how to make this buzzbait sound much better in the water and make it catch more fish. And so that is going to be the subject of today's video. I want to show you some modifications that are simple to do, easy to do, but will make the thing catch more fish because it'll improve the sound that the blade makes while it's spinning. And that is key for a buzzbait. You might wonder, well, why lately so much talk about buzzbaits? Well, here's the reason why I'm looking at this bait again and with in renewed interest. Baits like the buzzbait, spinnerbait, and others, they tend to come into favor and go out of favor over time, and they cycle into favor, out of favor. And when the river to sea whopper popper gained popularity, I believe the buzzbait lost some popularity. It seemed to fall out of favor in favor of the whopper plopper when it could be fished in open water. And so when that kind of thing happens, I always look at the bait that's kind of fallen out of favor and try and renew my fishing with it, because at that point in time the fish are not seeing it so much like they might be seeing the whopper plopper. They're seeing that a lot. Lately though, I don't think they're seeing as much of these buzzbaits, and so that's why I'm a little more interested in fishing a buzzbait. When everybody is zigging, I like to zag, because oftentimes, in my personal experience, it's caught me more fish. So today we're going to go over what I do to make this thing sound better, and in a second I'm going to hold this thing in front of the camera, blow on the blade so you can hear it, and then I'm going to do some modifications. We'll blow on the blade again, and hopefully you'll notice the difference. Now this is a small buzzbait. It'll be much easier to notice the difference with this one. So when we're done doing this, I'm going to show you the same modification on a standard size buzzbait, and hopefully you'll hear it there for sure. Alright, I'm coming over now. Okay, so listen to this. I'm going to blow on it. Now, hopefully that gets through on the microphone on this camera, but as that's spinning, it makes a noise. It makes a little bit of a ringing noise. And there's ways to make that sound improve. And people who fish buzzbaits and know a lot about them understand that to make this more effective, you want to change the sound of the bait. You want it to ring or even squeak to some extent. You want to have that ringing, squeaking noise, and that is one of the keys to throwing a buzzbait. So I'm going to show you what we can do to make that happen, and then we'll blow on it again. We'll see if you can hear the difference, and then we'll do the same thing with that bigger buzzbait. So there's a lot of buzzbait guys out there. One of the things they'll do is they'll actually mount this outside their car window and drive around in their car and just have this blade spinning for a long period of time. They're trying to wear it down. And the reason for that is as that blade spins, it starts to add more and more friction on the wire that it's on. And the more friction that you have, the better the sound that comes out of it. But you don't have to do that to get this sound that you want. You don't have to wait so long and have it running through your car window all the time. There's a bunch of tricks that you can do to make this happen right away. One of them is not one that I recommend, but a lot of people do it. They'll actually dip this arm and this rivet. There's a rivet on the back of this buzzbait that holds everything in place where the bend is here. They'll dip it in Clorox. And the reason why they do that is Clorox quickly oxidizes metal and it actually starts to rust. And as it does, that rust and oxidation creates more friction as this is spinning, and it makes that louder ringing, squeaking noise. But I don't like dealing with rust, and I wouldn't want to put this bait next to something else if it started to oxidize and start to rust, so I choose not to do that. But I do a few other things that will make this better. One is I will take a file, and this is a free-floating blade here. I'll take a file and I will file the arm on the front side and the back side of where this blade is in contact with the arm. And I will also, let me come back and show you something. What I want you to notice is this rivet right here. It's free floating right now. It floats up and down. And when you blow it, it can move around. So in order to make more friction, what you could do is take a pliers and crimp that rivet in place. I usually crimp it onto the back here so that the rivet can't really move. That creates more friction as the blade is spinning. So I'm going to do that first. I'm actually going to crimp that rivet to the back here by squeezing it down with this pliers. And I want it so that it won't move once I have it that way. That alone, and now that rivet is stuck there. That alone will help make more noise. It's already ringing a little bit more. Now, there's not a lot of space for me to get a file in here, so I have a little Dremel tool that I'm going to use to rough up that wire where this blade spins. It's just a little grinding surface here, so I'm just going to grind this down a little bit. I want that arm to get ground down a bit. I want to rough it up. We're roughing it up. Alright, now I'm going to lift it up here and do the same on the bottom. Oops, that rivet moved on me. Alright, let's get that part of the wire going here. Alright, now that's roughed up pretty good now, so I'm just going to rough up the front just a little bit more than what it was. You're going to rough up the front of the blade. Alright. Okay, I brought it back over to the camera now. Don't know if you can see that it's roughed up there, the metal, but I'm going to blow on it. We'll see if there's a sound difference. So if you played the video in the beginning and then played it again now, you'd hear that louder little squeak, little ring to it. That's what we want to do. We want to make that noise become better out of our blade. So that's what we did on the little one. It'll be much more amplified, I believe, when we do it on the larger size buzzbait. So let's do that now. Alright, so we got this little guy ready to go. I like that ringing noise. Now we're going to do this with the bigger buzzbait, and we'll show you everything we're doing here. If I can just get the package open. There we go. Alright, so big buzz. This one sounds a lot louder already. Let's show you what we do here. First things first, I want to show you that mod. We'll do that right now. I'm coming over so that you can see what I'm doing. So what I have here is a heat shrink tubing kit that I bought from Home Depot. It's got all these different diameter shrink tubes in it, and you just pick the appropriate size. What I've picked here is one that you can see fits kind of snugly already, so when we heat that up it's going to stay on there. So what I'm going to do is just cut a little piece off, and I'm going to stick that shrink tubing right over the blade, right over the blade, right over where that line tie would be. You can see that there. And then I'm just going to heat it up so that it shrinks. I'm going to change hands here so you can get you the best angle, hopefully here. We'll just Get that flame there. You see it shrinking. Same thing on this side. And whoops, almost burned it a little bit, but I think it's good. It's shrunk on there real nicely now. So now I can I can still tie my line directly on there if I want. It just gives me the option to throw a snap on there of some type so that I can change the bait quickly if I feel I need to. So that was the whole purpose of that. Now, let's listen to this. This one sounds great already. Hear that? Listen to that ring. That sounds nice. We're going to try and make it even nicer. So let's show you what we do. Okay, so we changed the camera angle one more time here. We're going to take this rivet and we're going to squeeze it so that it can no longer spin freely at the end of the bait here. So I'm just squeezing that down hard and strong so that now it don't move. It's already made it louder. I'm going to come back over there so you can hear that. I didn't do anything else other than that rivet. But listen to this. So I did nothing more than just press this rivet down so that it can no longer move. And listen to the difference already. Hear that? It's like vibrating. That's because that rivet doesn't spin freely anymore and there's more friction. We're going to create even more friction in a minute and try it again. Alright, so that rivet is on there, and this one is big enough where I can just take a file, and I'm just going to file the surface of the arm that will come in contact with the blade. And I just want to rough it up. I want to get it roughed up. And I'm going to do that with the blade itself, on the top of the blade where I can. Just rough that up too. And you could do this, you know, to where you feel it's where you like it, obviously. This could be some variables compared, you know, depending on what you want it to sound like. Alright, so now we've got that part. Now we've got this part of the arm. And we're going to rough that up. And now we're going to rough up the bottom of the blade that comes in contact with the arm and that rivet. Let me bring it over to you. Okay, here we go. So it's doing two things, right? It's making more of that ringing, a little bit more of a squeak, and it also makes this arm vibrate because when it comes in contact with that rivet, the rivet's no longer free to go up and down. So the arm vibrates, and that vibration, along with the spinning of this blade, gets sent through the water. So I know it might not seem like a lot just listening, but it makes a big difference. And you know, it's not just me saying this. There's a lot of professional buzzbait fishermen out there that this is the kind of thing they do to get a better sound out of their buzzbait to help them catch more fish. I like it. So this one's ready to go. It's got all the mods that I like. Now I can leave this skirt on and fish it like this and maybe put a trailer hook on if I felt I needed that. Or I could pull the skirt off and maybe put a horny toad on the back. I would use a dark one in this case. Or I could put a swing impact fat on there, a larger 3.5 inch one, something like that. It gives me some different options with the buzzbait. A couple of simple tricks, simple modifications, don't take very long, but they'll catch you a few more fish than you would if you did not do it. Well, that's this Topwater Tuesday. If you want to see a video more specifically on this smaller buzzbait and how you can use this to catch more fish, take a look at this one right here. Keep it tuned here. Until next time, hope to see you on the water. Be safe out there, and as always, may God bless your fishing endeavors.